So we'll do another example instead. I'm pretty sure it's right, I just can't remember how it works. Okay. A study reported in the Wall Street Journal asked, do fewer women have home-based businesses than men? So then they did a study of 899 home-based businesses and found that 418 were owned by women. So how would you answer the question? Okay, now the first thing you do is you actually just check what's 418 divided by 899. And the answer, here we are, is 0.46. Okay, so that is less than 50%, which is what, I mean, more than 50% would mean that there were more women-owned businesses. Less than 50% means fewer women than men. Okay, so it is less than that. If we got an answer straight up of 0.56, you stop right there. You don't do the study because, it's bigger. And so you can't use data that contradicts straight off to prove something else. I couldn't say, oh, well, it's 0.56. This gives evidence that it's quite possible that there are fewer women than men own businesses. It's just not like, it just doesn't work. So you always look at it first to make sure it's not going the wrong way, because people get really confused if they end up doing that. Having said that, I don't think I've given you any tricky questions like that because I think that's mean. Okay, so let's have a look at the alternative hypothesis, is that the population proportion of home-based businesses. I was quite surprised at this. This is real data. I would have thought that women would own more of them, but then I thought, well, maybe there's other things that I wasn't really thinking of. Owned by women is less than 0.5. Okay, so that's what we're kind of trying to say. Is it true that fewer women, or less than half of them, are women? Okay, and so the null hypothesis is that the population proportion of home-based businesses owned by women is greater than or equal to 2.05. Quite often I leave out the greater than. It's sort of assumed on a one tail, but it is better to put it in. Sometimes you do have just that it equals that. Okay, we choose our level of significance, which yet again is 0.05. We've collected our data, we've got it there, and in fact that's the only data you need, is those two plus the thing you're comparing it with. And then we calculate our p-value, so we have 418, which is the number of successes, 899, there's something wrong here. Oh, this thing here should say 0.5. I'm just making sure that that's the case. Yes, it is. Okay, so that's the probability, and we use the hypothesis probability and then true. And in fact, I'm not sure about that. I think I will check this and correct it for next week. But the p-value is 0.019, which is less than 0.05, so reject H0, or the null hypothesis. People seem to like rejecting the null hypothesis. In textbooks, most of the examples, you end up rejecting the null hypothesis. It's a bit hard on the poor null hypothesis. So we have evidence, and it's not particularly strong evidence, because if we had chosen a cutoff of 0.01, we would not have rejected it. So we have evidence at 0.05 level that fewer than half of the home-based businesses are owned by women. So there will be examples like that in the Module 6 Proctor Quiz number A, I think. And what you have to do is you take those numbers, work out your binomial, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that's wrong, because there might be a 1 minus that. Anyway, we're out of time. So on that auspicious note, we'll stop and you'll do the chi-squared next week.